So welcome to the very first episodes of the RE Connect podcast, and welcome to 2025. So happy new year to everyone. So as we step into the brand new year, there's no better time to reflect on where we are and where we're going. So our 20s are often called the defining decade, which is a pivotal moment for so many people, and it's defined by challenges, opportunities, and so much uncertainty. So we've decided in this episode, we're setting the tone for the year by tackling the big question. How do you get started? How do you stay disciplined? And how do you build the foundation of the life that you actually want? So I'm joined with Suma today. Thank you so much for coming.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, so Suma is a life coach and a wellbeing practitioner. So I met her a few years ago at a Ramadan event, and since then I've just been seeing her videos on like Instagram and TikTok, and every time I'm just like, oh my god, this is so insightful. Like, she's just dropping gems left, right and centre. So thank you so much for coming. It's a pleasure. So the first question now for you, I'm gonna ask all our guests, no pressure, you're the first one, is what do you think is the most important, your hard work or your connections and the people that you know?
Oh, that's a good question. I mean, first of all, thank you for having me here. I would say your connections are really important, simply because I always say to people, favor will take you way further than money can ever take you.
100%.
Sometimes it's not about what you know, it's about who you know. And, knowing the right people, having the right connections, meaningful connections can actually get you way further sometimes than money can.
And like I've heard, like just builds up on the topic of like hard work. I've heard so many people talk about like the Gen Z generation and how everyone's lazy and that they don't want to like work hard. They want things to come to them like easily.
Yeah.
Like, what's your opinion on that? Do you think people have become like lazier?
I don't think people have become lazy. I think it's just a matter of people have recognized that they don't have to work as hard as as people were before to get to where they need to be. The older generation are used to the traditional of working really hard, putting in that work, and the traditional way that work looks like. For example, remote working would be a taboo to like an older person. Like, you're not working at all. You're at home. Whereas we've just found ways to make work a bit easier, and we're working much smarter rather than harder. And I think that is good because you're optimizing your energy more effectively, I would say.
I agree. Like, I feel like a lot of people I've spoken to, and I used to have this problem myself, is I'd plan a lot, but I wouldn't actually take action. So it's like, I know what I want, I've written it down, this is it, X, Y, Z, but I struggle to actually do stuff. So like, people are becoming more increasingly like addicted to planning, yet more like allergic to taking action. So what would you recommend for someone who's like battling to actually get started?
That's a really good question, and something that a lot of people struggle with. So first of all, we need to understand why people do that. And the thing is, people mistake activity for productivity. So in the concept, the act of planning and writing things down and organizing things, they feel like they're being productive because it's activity. You're being productive. When it's not productive, it's actually quite counterproductive. It's quite avoidant. You're avoiding doing the actual work because this feels a bit easier to do. This feels more in your grasp. And when people are in that zone, they kind of imagine themselves already achieving that thing.
Yeah.
And once you've achieved that thing, you kind of tell yourself, oh, I don't really, you lose that momentum a little bit. And I think so when it comes to getting started, it is just about action before motivation. You don't need to feel motivated to get things done. Motivation comes after action.
Definitely.
So you just need to start. Once you get started, everything else will come after. And I think a lot of people struggle with the idea of perfectionism. Things need to be
like
perfect.
I needed things to be solid. Like, I used to be such a big planner. Like, I'm going to write it down. I'm going to have like a whole Canva template, Notion template, but I wouldn't actually do it. Like, I've just planned. I've spoken to people about it. Everyone knows what I want to do, but there's no progress.
Yeah.
I'm still in the same position. The whole perfectionism for me was like because I was scared of trying and failing. So I feel like a lot of people are scared of attempting something that they want to do because they don't want to be perceived. 2, it's embarrassing, and 3, what if I fail? So how do you think people should navigate these type of like thoughts in their heads?
Yeah, I think it's a big thing. Self-doubt, imposter syndrome, just not trusting and believing in yourself can be a very big hindrance to your growth. And I think it's one of the biggest hindrances to people's growth. And we are our biggest enemy. It's not that you can't do what you want to do. It's just that you're struggling with them limiting beliefs. One thing is to try and acknowledge that you have them limiting beliefs, that actually I do have self-doubt, actually I am struggling with imposter syndrome. You know, once you're aware of the problem, you can actually do something about it. One of the ways to do something about it is to try and restructure your thinking, you know, reframe the way that you see things. Really and truly, do you have evidence to prove that you're not going to be successful? Not really. You've done it before, you know, whether it's through school, college, uni, you have evidence that you are capable of committing to something and getting it done. So why is it that you don't believe that you can't do it for this next thing? It's just that you don't have enough clarity, first of all.
Yeah, 100%.
And you don't have enough patience.
Clarity is a big thing.
Yeah.
So many people don't know what it is that they want. And then because they don't know what it is that they want, they can't get started. And it just leads to like so many problems. Like I saw one of your videos, you mentioned like people can't stay disciplined or motivated because they lack clarity. So like, could you like build up on that? Like what does that actually mean, and how do people find clarity?
Yeah, I think clarity is a big thing that is really it's people don't focus on it that much, but it's really, really important. You know, in order for you to feel motivated, you need to have clarity. Clarity is where you have a clear vision and a clear goal, you know, a very, very clear goal as to what you're actually trying to achieve. Because some people, they like the idea of success, but they don't know what it means to be successful or what success means to them personally. They've allowed social media or other people's opinions to define what success means to them.
100%.
And when you have that, you become blurred with your vision and it becomes confusion. You know, you become confused with what you're actually trying to achieve. But when you're clear on what you want, you will do whatever it takes to actually get there. So that is what clarity is. It's having a clear vision, it's having a clear goal and making success, you know, specific to you and what you want and what that means to you, because then you will feel the motivation after. It will come naturally.
Like I saw one video, like Dr. K literally mentions like something about this whole clarity thing, because you know how people have this whole 7-5-day hard. So I was like, you know what, let me try it out. So this whole like waking up at 5 a.m, reading books, doing 2 exercises a day, but I realized like literally after like 3-4 days I'd give up. But then it was because I didn't actually want that. It was so because I saw on social media people said, yeah, do this and like your disciplines, do this and you know you're gonna be successful. But it didn't work for me. Like that's not what I actually wanted. So I really struggled to be disciplined in that. But then when I started doing things that I actually wanted for my own reasons, I found out that I was able to actually stay consistent and be disciplined and actually get to where I was, get to where I want. So how do you think people should find what is that they want? Like, I feel like a lot of people struggle because of social media, what their friends are doing. They don't know who they are themselves. How do you think people should like try and figure out, you know, what's best for them and what their actual desires are?
That's also a really good question. I think it's really important for people to see what brings them happiness and what brings them joy, you know, because with everything that we're doing, there needs to be a purpose, you know, attached to it. Okay, you want to start something. Why do you want to start it? First of all, you need to know why. What is it that you're doing this for? What is it that you're trying to actually achieve? When people say they struggle with actually, you know, setting a goal, I say to them, okay, you don't know what goal you want. What do you want to feel by the end of the year?
Good. Yeah.
So, for example, I want to feel settled. What does settled look like to you? How do you break that down? I want to feel freedom. What does freedom look like to you? That's when you get to the goal, because a lot of people attach things to their feelings, their emotions. If you are trying to look for freedom and you break that down for yourself, you will be motivated to get there. That will be a clear goal for you. It doesn't have to look like what everyone else is doing.
Yeah, at all.
Make it unique,
make it personal to you. Like, what do you want? Like, literally sit down and figure out what it is that you want. And I think so many people nowadays, like especially with like social media, they're looking at other people live their lives rather than actually living their lives for themselves. So it's like, one thing I'd suggest is people should just go outside, like touch grass, you know, try new things, try new activities, speak to new people, because I feel like everyone's just locked in their house. Social media, you stick to what you know, you don't try new things, you stay in your comfort zone. And by doing that, you don't actually figure out what like you want, because you haven't experienced life to know what it is that you want to get out of life. So like that's something I've, you know, was really thinking about like the other few days, and I just thought, you know, let me just touch upon that. Yeah. And like, let's say someone has found that, you know, they've gotten the clarity, they know what is that they want, but they realize they're still not really moving. Like, so should they look at the people around them? Like, okay, cool, maybe I should start cutting off my friends. Because I see there's this one like statistic saying 95% of your success or failure is determined around the people that you're with. So let's say I've done all these steps, but like still not getting anywhere. Should I just start? So yeah, I'm cutting you off. Like I'm not friends with you anymore. Like should I do that? Quite controversial.
I think this topic is very interesting. I think really and truly people need to start taking accountability. People need to take accountability. People need to take ownership of their life. You cut someone off, you don't cut them off. Regardless, it's you that's going to take you to where you need to be.
100%.
Nobody's going to take you there. Okay, let me not say that friends aren't important. They are extremely important. The people that you surround yourself with is really, really important. You know, the people that you're with can shape you or they can break you.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you need to take accountability. I think with cutting off friends, I'm not really a cutting off type of person. I don't cut people off. I don't block people. I just change the position that you're in my life.
Yeah.
It's not about...
preach. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not about cutting people off. It's not about... Because the thing is, not everyone's meant to be in your life forever, right?
Yeah.
People come and go and people are in different stages of your life for different
like
reasons.
Works and seasons.
And
like,
you benefit each other in different ways. So it's allowing yourself to recognize that this person's human and they're not always going to serve a specific purpose in your life forever. And that is totally fine. I don't need to cut you off. I just need to change your position. Maybe it's not we're best friends anymore. Maybe we're just associates now.
I never thought about it like that.
You
That's
know?
really
And that's
interesting.
okay.
Yeah.
So,
I might have to implement that. You know, stop positioning some of my friends. I'm joking. I love you all. But that's really good advice. So let's say, cool, I followed these tips. I've gained clarity. I know what it is that I want. You know, I'm more disciplined now. I'm able to stay motivated. I've looked at my circle. You know, my friends are motivating me. But it's like, okay, cool. Everything is established. How should I start making like adjustments in my daily practices to get to where it is that I want to? Like where do I begin?
So there's a framework that I've been working with my coaching clients this recently, and it's about splitting goals up into quarters. So instead of having a list of goals for the year, you split them into quarters. And, you know, we have 4 quarters in the year. You have January to March, April to May, and then you have, April to June, July to September, October to December. So if you have your goals, just put 3 goals under each quarter and focus all your energy on them goals for the quarter. Discipline, you need to understand what discipline actually means. There's laws of discipline. You have consistency. You have, basically, what else would I say is discipline? Really committing yourself to something. Flow. You know, people don't understand that there needs to be... You want to get to a point of flow. You don't want to always feel like you need motivation or discipline to do things. You want to get to a point where it flows naturally. How do you get there? You stick to something for as long as you can, which is the 90 days. Typically, a habit forms in 90 days.
Yeah.
So if you can stick to them 3 goals in that quarter and you commit yourself to it, it's not overwhelming because it's only 3 things.
Oh, that's good. I feel like a lot of people, they say, yeah, I want to set a goal. I want to change my whole life. I'm going to start doing these 20 things within the next month.
No,
like,
it's unrealistic.
Yeah.
And you become overwhelmed and you reach burnout. And you don't want to do that, especially at the beginning of the year. You want to pick 3 goals that complement each other. Things that are easy for you to do and, you know, they flow naturally between each other, and just stick to them for 90 days. Even if you want to do the other things, that's fine. But split them up into their different quarters and just focus on them. I think a lot of people, you know, are multifaceted. They have a lot of things they want to do, which is amazing.
Every week, I want to try something new. I don't want to do that anymore. Like, give me something else.
It's amazing. It's really good. But I think it's just, if you really want to get to where you need to be, one thing that my husband tells me is you don't want to be a jack of all trades and a master of none.
Yeah, that's real.
So it's trying to focus on just, you know, one thing at a time. Focus on that. Get that in check and then move to the next thing. I think one thing our generation really needs to understand is that time is not running away. You know, you don't have to achieve everything. No.
Person. I feel like
what's meant for you will find you.
Really?
What's meant for you will happen, especially as Muslims. I believe your risk is written by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So you will not miss what is meant for you. Take your time, trust Allah, accept that this is, you know, you can do your part, but accept that ultimately God is the one that's going to take you to where you need to
100.
be. So trust him, do your part, and honestly take your time with things. Don't think that everything needs to be a rush. Like, we're not in a rush. You're not in a
guilty.
rush at all. You're
Like,
not in a rush.
I feel that. I feel that because I'm like, I need to achieve all my goals by the time I'm X age. I need to make sure everything's, up to speed, build my foundations, get everything sorted. So like time's running out. Da, 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 da. So I'm very much that type of person that feels like I need to be active. I need to always be doing something, constantly doing something, or start doing something, or else time is gonna like run away from me.
No. I think that concept is lack of trust and lack of faith in God. It comes from that, like, kind of, because you need to trust God to know that what is meant for you genuinely is going to be for you. Do your part, but just don't rush the process, because if you rush the process, first of all, you're putting a lot of pressure on yourself. You are, you probably will end up feeling burnt out because you're rushing to get everything done. And then what do? You don't do anything at all.
You just crash out.
You don't achieve anything at all. It's like when you're trying to catch two birds with one stone, you catch none of them.
Yeah.
Whereas if you just focus and you just be strategic, everything is about creating better systems, being strategic. People aren't working hard, they're working smart. But what does working smart actually mean? Working smart means creating the best systems for you, optimizing your energy in the best way, working effectively in a way that makes you actually achieve your goals. And without burning out, without stressing yourself out, because health is everything, well-being is everything. If you're not okay,
you're not doing
mentally, your health, you're not going to be able to achieve your goals.
Okay, cool. So let's say someone they've listened to this advice, they've said, okay, cool, I'm going to have 3 goals for every quarter. What type of systems do you think they should put in place to make sure they actually achieve those 3 goals within the quarter? Because I feel like a lot of people at the start of the year, they're like, yeah, I'm going to achieve this, or even if it's just like 3 things, I'm going to achieve this, but they don't actually do it. Like the 3 months has come and gone by, and it's like, my bad, I haven't done it. What type of system should they put in place?
I think people need to do it for themselves and really want that thing that they're actually achieving. First of all, you need to really want it. How bad do you really want it? Because if you want it, you will do the work, right? And work doesn't need to be strenuous. Work doesn't need to be tiring. Make it fun for yourself. Like, look at how you can implement these little things slowly in a fun way to make it a good experience for you. Enjoy the process. Everyone's so stuck on that outcome, but they don't actually enjoy the process of actually getting to where they need to be. Yeah. So I would say, think of how you can make this fun for yourself. If it's like, for example, a health goal, 10K steps a day, okay, you might do it. Like, you might do an errands run, like that could be like your 3K steps, and then one could be you go to see a friend, and making it fun for yourself. Another thing is looking at your goals weekly. Okay. Looking at them 3 goals weekly. Review them weekly.
So it should be my room.
Yes.
It's like there's a poster. These are my 3
You
goals.
need to review them weekly and have something to monitor your progress. That's why when people are setting goals, they need to be SMART goals. They need to be specific. They need to be measurable. They need to be attainable. They need to be something that you can actually measure and you can monitor.
Actually track.
You can track to make sure that you're actually getting it done. Another thing is accountability. If you can have someone hold you accountable, or you can, hold yourself accountable, you trust yourself to hold yourself accountable, then do that. Because there's no point in writing goals if you're not going to achieve them, or you're not going to do them.
And like, just following off from your point of like the steps and making it fun, like I feel like people need to realize they can get things done by making small changes. Like, for instance, you mentioned, like, say you want to go to see your friends, your goal is to get 10K steps. Instead of taking a bus, you walk. So it's like these like marginal adjustments to your routine. It kind of like, in the long run, it compounds, and like it turns into something big. Now you've done your 10K steps because you just changed a little thing in your day. So I heard about that in like some podcast idea, and I thought, oh yeah, cool, man, I have to start doing that, But then another thing is like, one thing that's really helped me in terms of like little changes to my routine was like when I wake up, straight away I make my bed. I make my bed, I get downstairs, brush my teeth, shower, and I feel like it makes me so much more productive. I don't know what the science behind it is, but it's like, I think, okay, no, you know what? It's because now that my bed's laid, I don't want to lay in bed anymore. So I'm forced to sit at my desk, and when I'm sat at my desk, I had to do something. So it's like those little things that you change, and like it adds up, and it just kind of helps you progress in like ways that you wouldn't actually imagine. So that's another tip. So, lay your bed in the morning.
One thing I would say as well is to have a little rule for yourself. So I always say to the girls, like, just have a 5-minute rule. I'm just going to do this for 5 minutes. If after the 5 minutes I can't be bothered, okay, stop. But once you've started, you're going to want to continue.
Stop, yeah.
So just give yourself 5-minute rule. And another thing is people need to learn to stop feeding into their feelings all the time. I need to feel motivated. I need to feel like I want to do it. What if you never feel that way? What if you never want to do it? You're never going to want to get things done sometimes. You know, sometimes you just have your mood.
I just want to watch movies. I don't want to get up.
Yeah, but you need mood independent discipline. It's really important. You need to separate your discipline from your mood. You know, okay, you feel a certain way. Sometimes you need to allow yourself to feel what you need to feel. But give yourself a recovery protocol. How long does it take me to get out of this zone that I'm in, this mood? Is it one day? Is it a couple of hours? Give yourself something.
I feel like that's something I struggle with. Like, I don't have moods, and I don't even know what the word is. Mood dependent discipline?
Independent. Mood independent discipline.
See, I said dependent because I'm dependent. You know what I mean? So I don't have that. I feel like if I'm in a bad mood, I'm not getting anything done. Like, I really struggle to like detach the two. How do you think I should like work on that?
I think it's normal, you know, for you to have moments where you will just be like, right, today's just not my day. Yeah. But I think your thing is you need a recovery protocol. So when I say this, I mean like, okay, if you know that you're the type that doesn't get anything done if you're in, you know, if you're in a bad mood, just tell yourself, this is okay, but I'm only going to do this for 2 days max, 3 days max, and then I'm going to get back to what I'm doing. Because what people do is they use that as an excuse to stop completely.
Sorry.
Yeah. So let's say you're going to the gym. Okay, I missed today. You know what? Might as well miss the rest of the week.
I don't need to go
No.
Like,
just say to yourself, I'm only going to miss 2 days max if I'm in a bad mood. Then I have to go on the 3rd day. That's a rule. That's a non-negotiable. That's something that you can't, you know, back down on, basically. And allow yourself to feel. You are human. You are going to have your days where you can't be bothered. But consistency isn't a straight road. It's up and down. People see consistency as a straight road. As long as you keep going, even if you do miss 2 days, 1 day, whatever, just keep going. Stop giving yourself excuses to stop what you're doing, you know?
Okay, cool. So let's say the same listener, they've listened to this podcast, they've listened to everything you said, they have the three goals for each quarter. They've said, yeah, I'm going to get it done. I have, you know, have a post on my wall, like I'm seeing it every week, you know, I'm motivated and, you know, I'm going to do it. Like, how should they structure, they have the systems built, how should they structure how they achieve everything that they said? Like, let's say my goal now is to go to the gym like 3 times in a week. How do I make sure I actually do that? Like, what would you say is like a strategy for them to actually, you know, make sure they actually do go to the gym? Like, I have an accountability partner, but if I don't go, she won't shout at me. She can't beat me up. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I get you. I think writing your goals down is important. That's one thing. Second thing is people only visualize themselves doing the goal, or they visualize themselves, you know, people say visualize your higher self and all this kind of stuff, but they don't ever visualize the obstacles that might come in their way.
Oh, that's true. I don't
so
do that.
when you're creating that vision board, or when you're writing down your goals, you better write down a plan for the times when you can't be bothered going to the gym. And if you know that potentially you could stop going to the gym 3 times a week, maybe that goal shouldn't be your goal, sis.
That's true. Okay.
Maybe you need to revisit that goal and you need to change that goal. Because why is it 3 times a week? What exactly is important about it being 3 times a week? Why can't it be 1 time a week? People need to simplify things.
Yeah, and do what works for you.
Do what works for you. To stop doing the things that you feel like is what you should be doing, and start doing the things that you feel like you need to do in order to better your life.
Yeah, and I was also like listening to this like TED talk, and they were talking about the implementation of intention. So it was basically like people should say, okay, let's say your goal is to read a book. Yeah. So it's like, say, have like a when and then strategy. So when I'm in bed, before I go to sleep, I will read for 15 minutes. Then I'll go to sleep. So it's like having that, like, you know, being able to actually clarify when you're going to do it, and like everything and all the instructions, it kind of makes it easier for you to actually do it. Like, there was some study like with people who had like some cardiovascular disease and like they needed to exercise. Everyone has the same goal. They want to get better. They want to exercise. But then they realized the people who actually had the when and then strategy did better. Like 91% of them actually went and actually did exercise. And only 31% of the ones who just said, yeah, I'll go, did. So it's like, have like a strategy where it's like, yep, when I'm in bed, I'll read for 15 minutes, then go to sleep. It kind of makes it easier to kind of know what is to do next. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. And one of the implementation of intention ways is basically if as well. If this happens, then I will do that.
Oh, that's true.
So
too.
if I can't go to the gym today, I'm going to go tomorrow. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If I can't read 15 minutes, I'm going to read for 5 minutes.
Okay, that's true.
Yeah, so you need the if in there as well, because the ifs becoming...
Yeah, they become like, oh my God, I can't
ifs be there.
Like, I don't want to read. I want to go to bed. I want to be on TikTok. Do you know what I mean? So, okay, cool. Perfect. Now, okay, this individual, they have the clarity. They know what they want. They have the 3-month goal. They're intentional. They're starting. They're like, yeah, I have the when then strategy. I have everything. I've listened to Suma. Everything's going great. So now they've seen progress, yeah, but it's not as much progress as they thought they'd make.
Right.
Like, so now they're starting to get a bit demotivated. It's like, oh, like, I thought I'd have reached like 1K followers by now, but I'm only on like, 300s. Like, what do I do now? Like, how should someone like recover from that type of feeling?
Revisit your why. That's really important. Why did you start? What is it that you was trying to achieve when you first started? Secondly, normalize the feeling. It's okay. You are going to hit plateaus in your journey.
Yeah.
It's like when you're on a weight loss journey, you will lose weight rapidly at first, and then after you'll hit a plateau. That plateau can go from a month to 6 months to 9 months. But you need to be able to continue in order for you to get out of that plateau. Yeah. And sometimes it is going to take long. Things aren't always, there's no such thing as overnight success. Only over time.
Yeah, literally.
Success.
So I feel like there's this like unrealistic expectation of success, because I feel like with the way social media is, everyone only posts the positive stuff and when things are going well. So it's like, as an individual, you now, log on TikTok, go on Instagram. Oh my God, this girl, she's lost so much weight. Like, it was literally overnight. But they don't know the actual work that you've put in behind the scenes, because people don't really post like the stuff that they go through. It's just more so the result. So I feel like people just have this type of like mindset of like, it's going to happen straight away, like instant gratification, immediate gratification, like I need it to happen now. Then afterwards they start to kind of lose motivation. It's like, oh, it's not working out, Yeah. So it's like, you just have to, like as you said, just understand your why, know that things take time, and then from there, you can kind of like continue. And so just moving on to the next question, cool, this individual, amazing, now everything's going well, they've started, they're making progress, everything's going great, like I love life. But then they're realizing, oh my God, like I've had to sacrifice a lot. Do you know what I mean? Do you feel like right now in today's society, people don't really understand the sacrifices that need to be had in order to achieve your goals? Like, I've seen like this statement that our life works in seasons, and like this season of like commitment to what you want requires a lot of sacrifice. Like you might not be able to go to that brunch or that dinner with your friend tomorrow because you need to speak to a client or you need to go to the gym. Like, do you think people understand the sacrifice?
Yeah and no. There are people that are okay with being in their comfort zone. And again, it all goes back to, why are you doing this and what do you want from this? Because if you're okay with just living a mediocre life, and you're okay with a normal 9 to 5, what exactly is pushing that drive of the extraness, the extra things? You have to think everything that you're doing needs to be rooted in bringing you some sort of joy and happiness by the end of it.
Yeah.
If this thing isn't bringing you joy and happiness, what exactly is the point in you doing it?
Yeah.
You need to revisit why exactly you're doing this thing. And I guess it's just really important to recognize that, things aren't always going to go the way you want it to go.
Yeah, at all.
And sometimes the goal that you first set may not be the goal that you continue with or you stick to.
Like, you can change.
Just because you've started doesn't mean you can't change what your mind, doesn't mean you can't, be flexible with it. So again, it's getting to know yourself a bit more, focusing on your own journey and making it unique to you, thinking about what exactly is going to make this thing easy for me. Yes, there will be some sacrifices. There will be times where, you need to kind of, do things that make you uncomfortable. I always say to people, you need to be willing to die to the old version of you to birth the new version of you.
Real.
Yeah.
That is real.
Yeah, it's really important. It's really important.
Yeah,
honestly.
I even saw like some quote. It was like, easy choices, hard life, hard life, easy choices. So if you just continue living your life with like easy choices, you're going to not live a hard life, but you're going to live a life that you don't necessarily want, or a life that you think could be better. But if you actually make those hard choices, in the long run, it'll be quite easier, because you get to like reach where you want to go. So it's like, if you have to make those sacrifices, just make it. Like, obviously, don't go to the extreme and start cutting off everyone, saying, yeah, I'm locking in, like, I'm not going to be active for, like, don't talk to me for the next month or 2 months. Do you know what I mean? Like, take time. So, I feel like people need to find that balance, because a lot of people think, if I want to be successful, if I want to do this, I need to just sacrifice everything and just fully lock in and do this. Do you know what I mean?
Which is relevant for if that's the season that you're in that time, But there's healthy ways of doing that. There's ways you can commit yourself to a goal without doing all the unnecessary stuff of having to cut people off, of having, we're adults, we're supposed to be able to communicate effectively with people and let them know where we're at, so that they can meet us where we're at as well, and understand that this person is going through a season of growth. They're in their own zone and they are trying to better themselves. That doesn't need to be at the cost of everything else. You just need to learn how to balance the two, and everything is in moderation, because your goals, you will become sick of it at some point as well, and there'll be times where you do need your people, and you do need your friends, and you do need a day where you're not thinking about goals. So what do you do on them days? Are you just going to sit down and look at nothing? You need a balance in life.
This actually brings me to a really funny conversation I've been seeing all over like TikTok. And it's a concept of not being able to lock in and focus on your goals whilst being in a relationship.
Right.
Do you agree with that?
No. I don't agree with
so you think you can be locked in and be in a relationship?
100%. 100%. So that means you're going to be single for the rest of your life then?
Until I've built my foundations, then I'll find my partner.
What is important to you? I think people need to realize that there are really important things in life to focus on. Career is beautiful, amazing. Everyone wants to make money. Everyone wants to level up. But when you do all that leveling up, who are you going to? Who are you trying to go on holiday with? Who are you trying to have fun with? Where are your people to celebrate that with?
Yeah, that's true.
So it's balance. I think some people, it's like an all or nothing mentality. Yeah. It's either black or white kind of thing. When no, you can, I think, when it comes to a romantic relationship, you just need to pick wisely. Pick someone that can actually complement your journey and actually add to what you're doing and be okay with you striving for your goals. Yeah. I'm a wife, but I still do a lot of different things. I balance a million things. I'm a life coach. I'm basically a therapist, and I'm always working in some way or another, but he's okay with that. Like, he understands that that's what he kind of seen me as when he got with me in the first place. You need to compromise, and you need to know when there's a season for just family and focusing on that. But I just think it's about balance.
But like, some people could argue, like, as you mentioned, like, there's a season for like, focusing on what you want, and there's a season for family. It's like, people can argue that being in the relationship kind of declines your output, because now you have to be considerate that there's another person, you need to speak to this person, communication got with this person, when all the energy or all of that, like everything that you're using up, could be used to focus on your business and actually like get into where you want to get to.
I get you, but I think it's also a little bit of an excuse in a way, because it's like, what is stopping you from focusing anyway? What is stopping you from having that balance of, yes, you do have a partner that you need to check in with and spend time with, and, you have goals. Like, what is stopping you from doing them things? It's you, really. You need to find a way to continue speaking to your partner and doing all the things that you should do as a wife, as a girlfriend, whatever it is, and also stick to your goals. If you're married or you're, in a relationship in uni, for example, you're not going to drop your degree to go to go and get married. You're going to continue with your degree whilst you're married. So I don't think it stops anything. I don't think, if anything, it adds to it. Two people's minds is better than one. That person can, it's all about the choice that you make and who you're picking as a life partner, or who you're actually settling with. Because if you're with the wrong person, yes, it will be a hindrance to you. And yes, it will hold you back. But if you're with the right person, and that person is good for your growth and it's good for your where you're trying to go, then it'll be fine. You know, you won't need to compromise too much of yourself to fit that person in.
So like in essence, you feel like the most thing is just like, it's not the relationship that's holding you back, it's just you chose the wrong person, or it's you.
It's you. I'm telling you,
be accountable. It's your
from
fault.
the choice that you made to be with that person, from you actually knuckling down and getting things done, it's all boils down to you. Even when I'm having therapy with people, I say everything in life is directing you to take ownership of your own life. Nobody's coming to save you, sis.
No one. Like,
whether you're in a relationship, you're not in a relationship, you will have to make that choice to stick to your goals and actually get things done. And it's down to you if you want to do that or not. A relationship shouldn't hold you back. A lot of people are successful.
Yeah.
And they're married and they have kids and they have so many things. So it's just about finding a good balance, finding the right person that can actually complement you in that journey, and just choosing to do that for yourself, committing to yourself. Don't let yourself down, you know?
Like do it for you. Like
exactly.
Make sure you reach your goals for you and stuff like that. And like just one other topic I wanted to like briefly touch upon is like a lot of people, because of like social media and stuff, a lot of people are scared of being perceived. Like they're scared of being embarrassed. They're scared of like, let's say they wanted to start social media or content creation or like just start something. They're scared because of how others will see them. How would you kind of like advise them to kind of get a grip? Like no one cares.
Yeah, I think that's a big thing. I think a lot of people fear, you know, people's opinions, etc. You need to fear staying in the same place as
that's my biggest fear. That's my biggest fear.
If you really want something for yourself and it requires you to come out of your comfort zone, you need to come out of your comfort zone. People will always have an opinion. And I think there's this thing in psychology, which is the spotlight effect. People feel like the spotlight is on them all the time. When it's not.
Like, no one's looking at you.
Everyone has a main character in their life, and their main character is themselves.
Yeah.
It's like when you're on a Zoom call, more time you're looking at yourself.
I don't know what you're
than
doing.
The other
I'm
person.
staring at myself in the screen like, oh my God, I don't know.
Exactly. You're looking at yourself. You're not looking at the other person, because everyone is so... We hate to admit it, but we can be a bit self-centered. We do focus on how we look and ourselves rather than the other person. So I would just say focus on you. Focus on what you want. How does this make me feel? If social media makes you feel anxious or makes you feel a bit on edge, then maybe that's not the platform that you need to be using to help you elevate. It's not for everyone. Some people don't need to be on social media to grow. There are a lot of people doing businesses without an account.
Yeah, that's true.
Without social media, so stop looking at the way that people are telling you to do things and start looking at how it makes sense for you. Because some people genuinely, that would be terrifying for them, being on social media, being a content creator, being online, or just being seen, shall I say. Some people just don't like that, and that is okay. Get to know your personality, get to know...
And do what works for you.
Exactly.
Yeah, and there was even one TED talk I was listening to, and like there was a quote. It says like we suffer more in our imagination than in reality. And I feel like a lot of people get into their heads about, oh my God, if I do this will happen. I'm gonna fail. XYZ's gonna happen. This person's gonna think I'm embarrassing, etc. And like he touched upon like a practice that people should like do to kind of take action. So it's like one of the first thing is like you get a sheet of paper, divide it into 3 columns. The first one is define if. So it's like, if I do social media, for example, then you do the like what's preventing you from actually starting. So it's what's preventing me: fear of failure, embarrassment, etc. Then the third column you write the repair. So if worst case scenario, I am embarrassed, oh my God, like my videos aren't doing well, what do? You log off. You literally log off. Like worst case scenario, you just stop. Like it's not that hard. Then he was like, on a second piece of paper, you write what would happen if you did, like if you actually started. And like, okay, cool, let's say I start social media. Now I have collaborations, I'm more confident. Like what's the best case scenario? And then on the third sheet of paper, okay, maybe don't use paper, let's save the environment, do it digitally. So then on the third piece of paper, it's like, what is the cost of inaction in 6 months, 1 year and 3 years? And it's like you realize the cost of inaction is greater than your fear or whatever it is that's preventing you from starting. And then when you actually realize this, it's like, oh, okay, I was scared of nothing. Like if the worst case actually does happen, I can just stop. I can just go to the next thing.
Exactly.
And it's like, there's nothing wrong with stopping and like doing the next thing. I feel like a lot of people have this idea in their head where it's like, if I stop and if I fail, everyone's going to see I failed. It's like, I can't do anything else.
What?
But it's like, literally,
so
like,
what?
So what?
It's just...
So I feel like there's so much like self-help advice out there. Like so many people know what it is that they need to do. What do you think actually clicked for you and made you actually make that change?
I would say for me, the fear of being where I am right now and staying there always pushes me to strive for greater things. So I'm, a family of 6. My mom raised me by herself because my dad passed away when I was young. And I've always been an ambitious individual. I've always had a specific why and that why has always pushed me to get to where I need to be. I think for me, I just wanted it for myself. Yeah. You need to have that want, and you also need to have faith. I'm very big on my faith. I'm very big on God. I'm very big on my religion. And I think it's important to use that to guide you through life and recognize that you're here for a purpose. And I think my purpose is to do the things that I'm doing at the moment, to help people, to create businesses, to not be mediocre. I always say to people, I'd rather choke on greatness than nibble on mediocrity.
Oh, okay.
That is... Every time I say that quote, that's the response because it's so powerful. And I think that's what clicked for me. I just knew that I wanted better for myself. And if I want better, I'm going to do better.
That's very similar to mine as well. Another one is like living a life of regret and like looking down and like maybe looking back in like 5-10 years, be like, I wish I started or I wish I did this, or like if I did this I would have been at this position. And I just don't want to live a life where I'm just in like what if. So like just having that, it just made me like, okay, just do it. And also that whole fear of failure, like I feel like if I fail in like ventures or like if I fail in like little projects that I start, because I've still started, in the long run I'm going to be successful in something. But if it's a thing where I don't do anything and then that one is just failure, like that's inevitable failure because you didn't try anything. So I feel like that's what really clicks for me. It's like, 1, I don't want to live a life of regret. 2, I'm really scared of failing. So I need to make sure I get the life that I want. So now just to wrap up everything that we've discussed, like, okay, let's say I'm someone that I'm young, I'm in my 20s, I've just graduated, I'm feeling lost, I've listened to this podcast. How would you just condense into like maybe like 4 or 5 actionable steps for me to do to, get started and actually do what it is that I want?
Yeah, I would say, first of all, know your why, why, what is it that you're trying to achieve in life? Why do you want to achieve that thing in life? What is it that you're hoping to feel by the end of uni? Is it freedom? Is it settling? And then break that down for you. Make sure that you commit to your goals, write them down, review them weekly and have somebody hold you accountable. And I would say have faith in yourself, believe in yourself. You've gotten yourself to uni, you're going through uni. Don't compare your story to anybody else. Just focus on your own journey and commit yourself to your goals. Actually put in the work, and honestly, it will pay off. It might not be tomorrow, but eventually you will get there.
100%. Yeah. And another thing I say is just try new things. Like, don't be stuck in what it is that Like in my first year of uni, I say this to my friends. It's like, I don't want any new friends. I'm very happy and content with the people in my life. I don't want to do anything new. I'm happy with how my life's going. But then I feel like that really closes you off to a lot of things. So it's like, try new things, speak to that new person, try that new hobby, do that new activity. And with that, you learn who you are. And once you know who you are, you know what you want. So now just to wrap up with one quote. It was a quote by Seth Cohen. It's like, the easiest way to get through life is to let life get through you. So that's just like being passive and not taking action. So make sure your 2025 is a year of action. You do what it is that you said you wanted to do. Your vision board, you actually achieve it. Your goals, listen to the steps that Suma said, they're amazing, and you actually do it. But if you feel like you're still struggling to get started, she offers brilliant services. Her consultation, just book. I'll put her social media stuff in the bio of this video. So just make sure you get in contact. Make sure this year is actually you look back. When it's 2026, you look back on the year I did what it is that I wanted to do. Do you know what I mean? Make it a year that you're actually proud of, not another year that just passed you by. But yeah, thank you so much for joining us today, me today. And it was a pleasure having you, and hopefully all the viewers or everyone listening, you got something out of this video. And our first episode. Make sure you like and subscribe, and all our social media platforms will be linked in the bio.